should you buy a cheap mechanical keyboard? You'll see on various online sites these things going for 30, 40 pounds, dollars, euros. Are they any good? Well, I bought one, and it's this. This is an EMISH K8, although the same board goes by many names, and it's quite reasonable. It cost me £30. It has orange backlight, it has a metal top. It claims it has a metal case, but the bottom half of the case is actually plastic, not like it is in the picture here. I didn't want RGB lights. Often those require extra software, and I don't want lights in general. But the nice characteristics of this board include the fact that it has hot swappable switches. You can pull out the switches without any tools. There is no soldering for colonials, and it does this by using hole tights. These are little metal tubes that get soldered into the sockets so you can insert switches in and out of them quite easily. Anyway, let's open the cabinet of keyboards. This is my piece of furniture that contains nothing but keyboard stuff. And get this thing opened. Now, there is one thing I've done to this already. I have added a sticker to cover up the horrible logo. You'll see more of that later. But, there's nothing really to it in the box. There's just the keyboard, and having a look at it, it's basically fine. It's got this nice metal top. The switches are floating, and yeah, there you go. It's fine. When I say the switches are floating, it means that they stick out above the surface of the keyboard. Yes, it's a blooming light show when you turn this thing on, and it means that you're not going to end up with a keyboard full of dust and detritus. It has lots of different lighting modes. These are not of any interest to me, except for the fact that one of them allows for recording of your own pattern, which is quite nice. I'm not going to use it, but I'll show you in a minute. Now, this keyboard I bought with blue switches. Blue switches are the clicky, noisy ones, because I figured that no matter what I did to this board, it was never going to be particularly quiet, so I might as well just go noisy from the start and stick with it. The keycaps on it are alright. There's certainly something you can live with. I'm not going to bother doing a sound test or let you hear me typing because it is relatively noisy. It's a plastic case with a metal top and clicky keys. It makes the noise you would expect it to make. So yeah, there's a thing on the back of the box telling you the various modes for the lighting, and that's it. It's some no-name keyboard from some no-name company. The key switches in it, I think, are Jiangshan, effectively a no-name Chinese clone of Cherry MX switches. That's fine. They feel okay. I think with a prolonged typing test I may have something more to say about them, but I really don't at the moment. They're basically fine, and because they're hot swap, you can rip them all out and replace them with your own set of switches instead. So that's quite a nice thing if you're just buying your first mechanical keyboard and you don't really know what kind of switches you want. Keyboard testers are all very well, key switch testers, but sometimes you need to actually test switches on a real active board, and this will allow you to do that. And if you decide that these clicky blues are not for you, swap them for some reds. If you decide you don't like the linear response of reds, go for some browns, and so on. Yeah, there's 1,000 light modes. Well, not 1,000, but yeah, you know, some of them are amusing. But yeah, they're fun for 5 minutes. This is the recording mode, where you just basically go around, press some keys, and that's them. That will be the extra mode added to the keys. I'm just going to activate all the letter keys so you can see. I don't generally use my keyboard with lights on. Probably shouldn't have used the automatic gain control on the cam for this. Oh well. So yeah, there you go. That's it. It's programmed in. Had some trouble figuring out how to not include the function key. So as I switch through the different modes, there you go. There's mine. That's charming because usually to program any kind of pattern into a keyboard with LEDs, it requires software. and the software that comes with these things is often wretched. I'm looking at you, Razer. So that's it. I'm going to turn the lights off because I'm never going to use them. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all the keycaps, because looking at online reviews for this, there's a few things that people mention. They don't like the horrible logo that I've covered up in the top right. They don't like the random writing in the bottom right. Don't look down on me. So I actually quite like that, so I'm keeping that. I've replaced the horrible 1UP logo with a sticker that I cut up to make a K in orange and white, because we'll see later on when I pull out some more keycaps just what I'm going to do with it. I mean, the keycaps it comes with are okay. They're a little shiny for my liking, and I don't like the legend, the font that they use. Come on, focus down. They are double shot. Not sure that they're PBT. Don't really care. But as a beginning set of keycaps, they're actually fine. There's nothing particularly wrong with them, but what some people noted in reviews for this board was that the keycaps are a bit loose. And yeah, they are. Right, let's just pull out a couple of tills that I bought from Mechbox, who don't sponsor this video. They're just nice. Mechbox.co.uk, great place for getting hold of various keyboard bits and pieces, and I've had some excellent advice. There you go, you can see how the switches stand up above the plate. Nice, makes it very easy to clean, makes it very easy to keep clean. Unlike normal keyboards where the switch is hidden under the top plate and all kinds of rubbish falls under the keycap. Now yeah, I notice as I'm pulling off these caps, yeah, they just come off in my fingers. They are a bit loose. They have not been particularly well made. Generally you should remove stuff with a keycap puller, like this one. But actually I really don't need to. I could pretty much pull all these off with my fingers. This is a nice keycap storage box. And that's where I'm going to shove all the caps I'm pulling off it. I don't have any need for them, but you know, might as well keep them. I like these boxes. And there we go. I'm just going to strip the rest of the board, and we're going to take a look at the switches as they stand. Right, so far I don't have anything bad to say about this. Having a look at the keycaps close up, you can see they're actually a bit thin. They are double shot, which means there are two types of plastic in them. That's so that they can have the shine through, because the white plastic is translucent, allows the light to show through. The lights are actually surface mount. They're not LEDs inserted through the key switches. They are surface mounted onto the circuit board. So it means that if you are going to change your switches over and you want the light functionality to remain, you need ones that are either translucent or have a translucent slot on the top, like this one. You'll notice these are box switches, apart from the caps lock key there on the left. It's not boxed. And I thought that was a nice touch actually, because often you find that caps lock keys might have a couple of different stem positions on the back, so they won't have the standard socket for accepting the stem. So it's not boxed to allow for that. Really was pleased with that. Oh yes, notice there's a couple of holes. As I'm pulling out the screws, a couple of extra holes at the sides of the spacebar. I presume these are to accommodate various stabilizer fittings, because hey, maybe they make these out of different parts. Okay, that's it detached. Quite a lot of screws in this. And we'll have a look at the circuit board. I could yank all the key switches so that we could look at the top of the circuit board, but there's very little point. There's not a lot to it. You can see quite big bulges on the backs of the solder points. That's because the hole tightens in. Look how much this bottom half of the case flexes. It's rubbish. It's got a little bit of reinforcement under certain keys, like the WSAD area with SAD bit, just to reinforce it. The circuit board nicely is labelled. Oh yeah, it's trivial to detach the cable from the case, which is nice because it would be trivial then to create a socket in it. you wouldn't have to do a lot of work, but look how much that flexes. That is rubbish. This is a keycap layout board, or storage board. I use them for trialing out layouts before putting them on a board, like this one. And that's what I'm going to be sticking on this. These are much nicer. See, they're very thick PVT plastic. I've actually mixed up a couple of different sets of keycaps here, but you see, yeah, these are nicer. And the orange and white ones, they don't have anything on the top, they've got them on the front here, dye sublimated on. And here's a set of Japanese caps. They're actually grey rather than white, but close enough, nice and thick. And the hiragana and katakana legends are on there in orange to match the rest of the caps. So it's quite nice. There we go. I'm just going to mount all these up, populate the board. I think it's looking quite nice like that. Yeah, last thing to decide is what to do about caps lock. I like a laddered or stepped caps lock key. That's what these are. You see, it's just so there's a little bit of space between the A key and the caps lock, so I don't accidentally strike the caps lock. I find that I tend to. Not sure. So, do I go with it? Do I not? You find this is the caps lock that it comes with. Well, it comes with that keycap set. It's quite nice. And if we have a look, there's a stepped or laddered one. A nice grey to match the Japanese keys. But yeah, if we have a look at the back of the standard caps lock, you see it's got a slightly funny socket on it to allow for a couple of slightly different mounting positions. And thus I'm very glad they didn't box that key switch. But have a look at the back of this. You see the stem socket is not in the centre of the key, it's in the centre of the pad, so it won't fit on this. And that's the problem with most laddered or stepped caps locks. They don't fit your board. So this is one that I have made using moulding. I created a mould myself and pouring a few of these. It's in the right colour. I've only made 2 colours so far. I need to do a bit more experimentation with this, but it is a centre stemmed laddered caps lock key, so it fits a normal board. I think in the short term I'm actually just going to go with the standard orange one, see how I get on. If I don't like it, I can either swap for my white-ish coloured one there, or make an orange one to match. And there we go. It's a pretty decent keyboard for the money. I could use thousands of other keycaps to decorate it in a million different ways. Look how many I've got. What a show off. Believe me, it's a tiny fraction of my keycap collection. But this is a nice board for starting with because you can replace just about everything. Ultimately, the only bits that you can't easily replace are the circuit board and the case. But it looks reasonably nice. You can swap the switches for one of hundreds of types that are available out there, like all these. And because they're hot swap, you don't have to worry about being able to solder them or desolder them. Solder, desolder. And anything that you use in this board, if you eventually decide to replace it with a nicer one, you can keep all the parts that you've used on this. You can pull out all those switches and reuse them. You can pull off those keycaps and reuse them. So for 30, 40, 50 bucks, yeah, this is actually quite reasonable. I'm pleased with it. I think it's pretty good. That's enough for today. See you next time. Ta-ra!